Let's begin! Kingdom of Blades is a ninja game where you slice through enemies that are thrown towards you. The angle of your blade does determine whereabouts the enemies will be sliced into two from, and it is very realistic. It also feels quite nice in an evil kind of way, as the move controller does rumble as your blade goes through. The pacing of enemies' appearances at times can feel similar to a rhythm game, but it is ruined by the inclusion of throwing stars and enemies that parachute down. These do break up the flow and make the game quite hectic at times. In a way, it is good that they're here, as it does make the game harder, but their timing does get in the way of the overall flow, and later on in the game, you will most likely resort to just swinging your sword all over the place. As you progress, a few different enemies do make an appearance. Like I already said, one chucks throwing stars at you that you must deflect, which at times can be difficult to anticipate with so much going on in front of you. Another appears that is see-through, and another must be hit twice before they slice in half. But overall, these different types of enemies are not really enough to change up the gameplay in an effective way. Enemies usually come at you in groups, which requires a larger slash motion from you. If you do kill every single one of these enemies in a group, you will be rewarded with a little bit of special ability power. How much power you have is displayed on your right wrist, but honestly, you won't have time to look at it during each stage. Luckily, when you have enough, an icon will appear just in front of you. Slicing this will initiate your special attack. You can only activate one type of ability in each stage, and it's up to you to choose which one. Before you enter a new level, you are able to select from 4 different types. These special attacks include a freeze, which basically slows down time. It really does look great, especially as you get more time to see the after effects of how precise your sword slashes actually are. Another special attack is the Lifesteal one, that gives you a slight bit of health each time you kill an enemy. The special attacks are quite overpowered though, especially for reinforcement and lightning strike ones. Activating these basically has the game kill every enemy for a short period of time. It does push you out of the action momentarily. There is quite a big problem when it comes to actually activating the special attacks, and that is that you'll most likely set it off by accident. Its placement is bad, as it is right in the way of your sword swings. There wasn't many times at all when I activated it on purpose. For a game that requires so much fast-paced swinging, you shouldn't have to worry about the end position of each swing. Sometimes extra power-ups are thrown during the levels, such as a health potion and one where your swords become larger. This one really does help out a lot, as there isn't much fear of an enemy actually getting very close to you. The game also includes different weapons. These are either won or bought with the currency you earn from beating each stage. The prices are quite high, so winning them from an egg does give a great sense of reward, especially as you are usually rewarded with extra special ability uses or armour that you can equip, which is much needed in the later stages. But winning a powerful weapon can greatly hurt the difficulty of the game. I won a snake spear at the beginning of my playthrough. The two-handed weapon works very well, and I never had any issues with the move controller tracking, which is something that a lot of other games can't really be proud of. But because I unlocked it early on, I just resorted to using it each time I faced a boss. The time it took to beat a boss with this more powerful weapon really was very short, and it really did result in breaking the difficulty in these battles. The bosses don't actually play out as well as the normal stages. The fact that you must keep hitting them over and over again to damage them without any massive physical contact like the normal enemies that get split in half just makes them feel quite repetitive. They do have different attacks, but it's not enough to make them really exciting. Presentation wise, everything does look great. The menus do look fantastic and are very easy to navigate around, as long as you don't knock into one of the buttons whilst holding one of the game's larger weapons. The story and cutscenes are very basic. They're simply not that interesting. You won't get a real ending yet either, as one chapter appears to be coming soon. Whether this is paid DLC or free DLC, I'm not sure of yet, but I will be sure to let you know in the comments section of this video when I find out. The game comes with a few modes. These are campaign mode, which is the main bulk of the game, and includes many stages spread across some chapters. An endless mode also makes an appearance, which is exactly what you would expect. It includes normal enemies as well as boss battles, and you can also select a special ability to use. There is also an actual boss battle mode, which just throws loads of bosses your way one after another. The campaign took me around an hour and 40 minutes to beat, but I didn't get each of the 3 stars in each stage, so there is a bit of replayability here if you're a completionist. And of course, You can play the endless and boss mode 4-score chasing. There's also a menu called Showroom, which has a massive 81 challenges to beat, although you will get a lot of them during your first playthrough. These challenges reward you with the game's currency, so if you want to unlock every weapon, it's a good place to take a look at. Unfortunately, there isn't a trophy related to doing all of these challenges though. There's a trophy for completing each of the game's chapters, and to be honest, there's not much point in going into detail about the rest. After my first playthrough, I was only missing one trophy, so most will just unlock naturally. The only one I was missing was for deflecting something with the shield. It's a real shame there isn't any here tied to the stage's star system, unlocking all the weapons, or for completing all the challenges in the showroom. It would have given the game so much more replayability for trophy hunters. I haven't played Fruit Ninja VR yet, so unfortunately, I can't compare the two, so it was a first for me when it comes to slicing objects in half in VR, and I have to say, I did enjoy that side of Kingdom of Blades, but it is let down by the pacing of when enemies are thrown, and there are certainly some difficulty balancing issues with a few of the gameplay elements. I do think I was incredibly lucky to receive that powerful weapon early on though, as when I used all my currency on buying eggs after beating the game, another weapon never appeared. It's certainly not a really bad game, as there is a bit of fun to be had with the slicing and dicing part, and its initial launch price is not that steep at all. But the more you play, the more you end up just waving your swords around frantically. It just doesn't quite reach the best it possibly could be. For every good thing the game does right, there's something else that often gets in the way and pushes it back. If you haven't sliced things before in VR, then you may get a bit of enjoyment out of this game, but sadly, the game doesn't do a whole lot more to make it engaging from start to finish. If you found this review helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe for more PSVR content.